The thought occurred to me that some of you may be following me for years, maybe a decade or more, assuming of course that I persist. And it is relentless and frustrating, and about half the time is just shit work. The pre-processing of the film and that kind of thing. The fun part, of course, is writing up the board. That's when I get to learn, as I've said earlier, and that I enjoy. In fact, I could do that quite readily. Twice a day, I could fill up 2 boards because it's learning. But I would need to accelerate all the shit work, and I'm getting there. Like, I've learned how to upload in parallel to YouTube, so the upload time problem disappeared, and I'm now working on how to speed up the pre-processing, because that's offline. It uses I use Microsoft Movie Maker to do that. Maybe that's not the best way, I don't know. See, I'm not a technical engineering sort of personality. I don't like machines, actually. I hate computers in some ways. I have a real ambivalent love-hate relationship with computers. I push them to their limits, and they fail. Like earlier this afternoon, I have an iPad. This is the first version, version 1. In fact, I think I was the first person in China to get one, because I have a friend. Well, he's now moved to Hong Kong, but at the time he was living in the US, and he went to an Apple store the first day that these machines were on sale, and he bought one for me and shipped it over to China. So I think I'm the first person in China to have one. Anyway, I was trying to update apps on it. And the next thing I learn is that my Microsoft Movie Maker file has been corrupted. So I suspect it's due to the switching on the iPad. So implying that Microsoft's Movie Maker, if the hypothesis is true, but I suspect it is, because it's not the first time this kind of thing has happened, it just crashed. So I now have to. So I lost that file. I have to upload the whole session movie again, and then pre-process it. That takes about an hour, and then cut up the last bit that I need that was missing, and then I have to pre-process a second time, and it's lost hours. There's a lot of shit work, and it's frustrating. But what keeps me going is the realization that these YouTube videos are forever, right? I mean, 50 years from now, probably, people will be studying from these videos that I'm making. That's what I tell myself. And I hope there's a growing loyal community of people following me, because I'm churning this stuff out, right? I'm sending off about 8 plus video clips of a dozen minutes each, more or less, to YouTube every day, almost. I get fed up after a while, and I have a break and go off to the park or something and do something else. But still, with the increasing tricks for automation, I may even double that rate. That's possible. If I could do 2 boards a day, and have the pre-processing the time cut right down by having, for example, several machines doing the pre-processing in parallel at the same time, and perhaps I have to go twice through Movie Maker. It seems to me rather redundant. It takes a huge amount of time. Surely there's a better way. Anyway, so after 5 months now of doing this deGarisMPC, I still have not settled into a calm, stress-free modus vivendi. Just a way of modus operandi, I guess, just a way of working. There's still issues. So from now on, I will strictly not do anything else. No multitasking at all. When I've got Movie Maker working, I'll just have that and only that. But then it's so time consuming, I can't do anything else. It's annoying. But if things crash and files get corrupted because of multitasking, then it's even worse. It takes even more time. So I'm learning. So bear with me. Now, so for the loyal following, if you're following me for years, I can imagine I will become sort of your brother or your father, or if you're quite young, and I get really old, because I'm anticipating doing this for several decades, right? I'm already mid-60s. So, I may get into my 80s and still doing it. In that case, I'll be your grandfather. So, I argue you may as well see my quirks and the frustrations, and because it's the reality, right? This is what's happening as I go through the learning curve of how to churn out this stuff, and I hope it'll be instructive to a few other people who may be inspired by what I'm trying to do, and that is to teach to very high level. There's no limit. I can go as high as I like. I'm a free prof. Right? I can say what I like. I can do what I like. I just sit and stand in front of a camcorder and waffle, with a whiteboard. Anyone can do that. Well, if they have the ability and the knowledge. So I'm free. So I can go as high as I like. That's significant. If I keep churning them out, because I'm retired, I have the time and the energy, and I feel what I'm doing is hugely more significant than what I was doing as a waged professor, teaching in a classroom and churning out meaningless research papers just for the sake of to have continued employment and getting the wage by administrators who insisted on X number of journal publications per year. And when you read the statistics that the average published paper is read, research paper is read by one other person, you let that sink in, and the significance of it, it means people are churning out garbage that no one else reads, right? So what's the point? Are they doing it purely for themselves? I mean, science is supposed to be a social activity, right? The work of one is used for the work of another, but if another's not even reading the work of the first person, then what is the point, right? So that really struck a chord with me. So what I'm doing now, I feel, is hugely more significant, because I'm not teaching a classroom, I'm teaching the world, potentially, right? Of course there's competition, there's growing numbers of other professors having their lectures video cammed in the classroom. So that's a sort of a halfway house, a middle, mid-step between the traditional old-fashioned classroom lecture with no videoing, the commonplace now, the videoing of a classroom lecture, and I see myself then as the next step, and that is making videos specifically for the internet with no classroom, right? The only thing I'm talking to is this bit of black and silver plastic on a tripod that's standing about 1 meter in front of me, right? But I know intellectually, not emotionally, but intellectually I know that what I'm doing can reach potentially millions, maybe, depending on how much competition and so on. So I feel that's hugely more significant. And and I have other, as you know, I have other motives as well, political ones. I want to educate because by educating you foster the growth of the middle class, especially in poor third world countries. So as the proportion of their citizens who become middle class, the higher the probability is that those countries that are not yet democracies will become democracies. History shows the past 50 years, half the countries in the world, about 100 of them, have made the switch from single-party dictatorships, usually brutal dictatorships, to multi-party democracies, much more peaceful. People are happier, have freedom of speech. They can throw out their leaders if they're not happy with the job they're doing, because they're elected. These leaders are elected. Well, it's Rousseau's social contract, right? If the leaders do a bad job, throw them out. Unelect them. Basic principle of democratic thought. Okay, came out of the Enlightenment, French and English Enlightenment of the when was it? 18th century. La ville de la lumière, the city of light, Paris. So I feel I'm making my contribution towards the growth of the middle class. I'm specifically aiming at the alphas, well, for various reasons. One, I just love math and physics, right? And people who do that are usually alphas. I want to teach math and physics because by teaching it, I learn it, and especially at the high levels, PhD 1 and 2 levels, which is one of my ulterior motives, I guess. So by teaching it, I really learn it. I really want to learn it, therefore I teach it. And if I'm going to teach it, why not record it? And then, so not just I benefit, but lots of other people as well. Okay, so there are all these motives. And I'm a very political animal, so I'd like to see the planet live in a totally democratic system. Because history also shows that advanced democracies do not go to war with each other because their voting populations don't allow it. Any leader who starts warmongering, starts rattling the saber and threatening to go to war with another democracy is quickly unelected, right? So politicians know that, so they just don't do it. So advanced democracies just don't go to war with each other. And that's great, because then if the whole planet democratizes, and that's highly likely, because the planet is democratizing at the rate of about 2 countries per year on average, and the Arabs are going through that process at the moment, in some cases relatively peacefully, in others extremely violently, as going on as I speak in Syria, where you have a brutal dictator just massacring his people just to stay in power. Fucking bastard. Okay, so I'm political. So it would be nice to be rid of all that. Now the really big one is China. China may even be the last country in the world to democratize, because it's using